Let's talk about this whole, so we've gone two different ways with vectors. So we know that if we have, whoops, I should do that in red, keep it consistent. If we have this, well, no. We know that if we have these, we can find this using Pythagoras, and we can find that angle using tangent. And now what we're saying is when we're given the, so this is 3a stuff, when we're given the resultant and the angle, we can actually resolve it into its two component pieces. So we call this solving for resultant, and we call this resolving into components. Okay? Greatest traps in this: not understanding where the angles are. Greatest way to overcome that. Has anybody ever mentioned that you should draw a picture? You should draw a picture! Seriously, people, draw a stinking picture. So, if we have something that is below the horizontal, I'm going to make this blue for our nice little skyline there. We're talking about an angle that exists there. If we're talking about something that is above the horizon or above the ground, let me shrink this. So let's actually write this. Below horizon, below horizontal, any of those. If we're talking about something that is above ground, there's our angle above ground, there's theta. Here's the thing. Physics is math applied to the actual world. It is in context. So that context really matters a lot. And you will not have to do this forever. You won't have to write this step forever. By the time we get to the end of this chapter, you'll automatically look at something like this and you will say, oh, okay, well, sine theta v equals v sub y. But right now, what I would suggest is that you write that. By the end of this chapter, we're going to be dealing with a Vy and a Vx in every single problem. Every single problem. And you will be so good at doing this, you won't have to think twice about it. Right now, however, this is one of those like training wheels kind of things. I would suggest you write that out because it just carves it deeply into your skull. Okay, so remembering where the angle is above the horizon, below the horizon, north of east, east of west, south of, no, there's no east of west, east of south, north of west. You understand those? Okay. What are problems you're seeing? Where are you tripping? So let's talk about signs. We impose this Cartesian coordinate system on the entire world. And so what that means is in a problem, as you have drawn it, the up and down are easy. Away from the Earth is positive, down towards the Earth is negative. So if you have something flying down below a building, the y component of its velocity is going to be negative. The east and west thing, if we're slapping this onto the compass rose, of course, then west is negative, east is positive. Whatever right and left mean, you can apply those as you see fit. But the thing is, just be consistent. Be consistent with that. Other things about sine, am I missing anything? So if I found that angle, that is east of north, could I find the complement and find north of east? Yeah, I could, but I don't need to make my life any harder than it is. And when we start the non-perpendicular vectors after the carbohydrate fiesta of next week, we'll do a whole bunch of problems where you can use the angle that you're given or the complement, and you can get there either way. But when you can use what's given, it tends to be handy. We'll talk about situations where that's less helpful, and it actually is helpful to take the complement. But other questions, other things that you figured out that were problems initially? What tricks have you determined? Anybody here confuse horizontal and vertical? Because I did for a great part of my life. Okay. That's the horizon. Things that line up with the horizon are horizontal, but you all figured that out, right? I was an adult when I figured that out. I'm just going to go ahead and admit it. Still haven't gotten left and right. Okay, other things that are issues. So angles, headings, sines, when to use sine, when to use cosine. Hey, guess what? If you draw a triangle, opposite, adjacent. Look at that. Other questions? Are you good? You want to just keep working on 3A, 3B? So I think the majority of people are at a point or could be at a point where we can, we won't take the time to grade these tomorrow, but we'll do a 3AB FIP quiz tomorrow when you walk in. You'll hand me the homework. I'll grade it while you're taking the FIP quiz. I think most of you are in a place where we could do that easily. So any other questions? Yeah.